Hi guys, I'm Emma.
And I'm Jasmine, and we're Too Much to Handle, a podcast where we talk about the highs and lows of high school.
Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy. Hi
guys, welcome back. Today was our first day of senior year.
Yep, what she said.
Yeah, today was our first day
back to school, back in the groove.
So last episode we talked about back to school,
all little bits and pieces.
Advice we had. Did you hear that little glitch noise?
Yeah.
We
talked about our advice for going back to school, like all that jazz.
Yeah. This week we are talking about like setting goals for school and like your year ahead in school, because it's truly really important to do that. Even if you're like goals, like it's just a school year, like whatever, like it's just like 9 months. It's still really important to set at least one goal. You don't have to set 1,000, but it is important to have. I think a goal that I have for my year ahead, for my school year ahead, is kind of just to like enjoy the moments that I'm given, and just live in them and not worry really about people watching me enjoy the moments, kind of thing, if that makes sense. Because I'm not to like be that savvy person, but it is my last year and I like want to enjoy it. I want to make the most of everything I can. And I think I truly have been like in the past like so focused on like, oh, what if this person thinks I'm weird for doing that? Psh, girl, you're silly. I don't want to do that this year.
I'd say my goal for this year is really just not let like senioritis get in the way of like my schoolwork. Like I want to make sure I'm still putting in the same amount of effort as I would any other year of high school. This year too. I don't want to kind of burn out before and let my grades drop.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's my biggest goal for this year, amongst other smaller, more I'm sorry, I keep going with my mouth. Like more smaller, insignificant goals.
I think that's important too, is having a goal for your like academic, like having an academic goal. Whether it's just that you stay on top of your work, or it's, that you achieve high grades and stuff like that. For every person, it's different. And at our school, this year they have become more on top of like missing assignments and stuff. And so I'm hoping that for me at least, like I can get more on top of because I struggle with that, like turning in my assignments when they need to be turned in. I think I've gotten better at it over the years, but I think that's really important. Like, again, we've talked about how not everyone's best is your best, but having a goal academic wise, like, will get you somewhere. And then if you reach that goal, set another one. Like, because it is important to do well in school. Maybe not in every class per se, but it's important to do well and do the best that you can do, instead of just slacking. So
I know for a lot of people, they really have that question of like, okay, I want to set a goal for this year. Where do I start? And I feel like a good place to start, if you're looking to set a goal, is to look back on maybe any goals that you had made the previous year, or like achievements from the previous year, just like really all that stuff from the previous year. Like look back on that, reflect upon that, and see maybe what you can attempt to like build onto. Or if you set a goal and you didn't quite like reach that goal or meet that goal, a good thing to do would be like kind of like take what went wrong the last time and see like what you can change, what you can, do differently this time around. I feel like that's a really good place to start.
Yeah, another, I think, really good way to just, because sometimes I feel like this, especially like New Year's resolutions or whatever, you set them or you like say, I'm gonna do this, or like you maybe do it at the start of the school year, but then you forget. Something that I've done that's really helped me, it's like in my prayer journal, I'll write down like my goals I have or my New Year's resolutions. Whereas maybe I'm not reaching them to the full potential, but I'm remembering that I had set these goals for myself and I'm praying about them and I'm like asking, God to guide me and help me if it's like, patience, like patience with people throughout the school year, stuff like that. Like that's kind of a silly example, but praying about those goals too is just such a good, like, it's such a good, I think. Okay, so kind of going back to setting goals for like academics and school stuff, like different classes you have different like goals you want to reach, I think, because like you're better at some subjects than you are others. Like I'm not great at math, but I'm decent at English and like history kind of, yeah, we'll see this year. But like there's different like goals to set for each class, because if I kind of worldwide just say I want to get straight A's this year, like it might be easier for me to do that in one class than like another. I can like set a goal to, if my goal is yes, I want to get straight A's throughout the whole year, I may not need to work as hard in one class than the other. So setting then another goal for, let's say, my math class, like do I need a tutor, do I need to talk to my teacher, do I like, what goal can I set to achieve my main goal?
So another way you can kind of achieve that goal, which is something that I struggle with personally, is like planning ahead. Like making a plan of like what days you're gonna like, say one of your goals is something small, like, oh, I have this test coming up, I want to get above like a 90% or an 85%. And I know like for me, like I really struggle with like finding a day to study before that test. Like I always find myself coming up to the test and being like, dang, I didn't study and I wanted to get a certain grade. What do I do now? And a good way to like achieve that goal is to, plan out like,
Yeah,
this day I'm going to study for this test, and then I'm going to take a break this day and then study again this day, and then I have the test the next day.
I really like it too when teachers like we just had a teacher give us like, when for our first like full semester, she gave us dates for when everything is, and like holy cow, that is probably going to help me so much. But like when teachers tell you in advance like you have a test, it's so good to write it down. And like if you have a plan, or if you just write it down on a piece of paper, like a note card, that helps tremendously. So like in your brain, like maybe yeah, your teacher told it to you, but you can just like brush that off your shoulder. But writing it down, or like having it in your notes app, like something like that, is so helpful, because it's there, it's gonna happen. So like, oh wait, he said that, I don't remember that.
So following that up, another thing that I struggle with myself, and I know a lot of other student athletes do as well, is balancing, that like schoolwork and extracurricular.
Yeah.
And we have talked about this topic in a few different episodes.
Yeah.
About like the importance of finding a good balance.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really applies to this week's episode as well.
Setting goals and stuff.
Yeah, and setting goals.
I agree. I think it's so hard, especially if you're new or if you're not used to being on a team or whatever. Like, it's hard to find that balance because you don't know what practices normally look like, and if you're new to school, like it's weird trying to find a balance of when do I do my homework, and if you have a job and where you have other responsibilities and you have an extracurricular activity and you have school, like it is hard to, you know, find a balance, like find time to do, you know, your homework or practice on whatever you're like for your extracurricular, whether it's like running lines or working on throws and hits and smacks and stunts and cheers and I don't know.
Yeah.
Going back to setting goals, I think it's really important that you set a goal, right? Again, what we've been talking about all this
the whole
episode.
point is to set a goal.
Episode. That's what I said, mother freak. Is while it may be hard, try to find that balance of I'm home for this amount of time. And like I don't think all schools do this, but our school has like block scheduling, so it's like okay, I have this class on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So, and I have practice Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever. Like kind of like figuring out, you know, your schedule, figuring out your whatever, if you have practice or if you have, you know, choir, drama, whatever it is. And finding that time to and also it is also really important to spend time with your family. Like don't brush them out because you're a busy person. But whether so that maybe you work on your homework downstairs and hang out with your mom and dad or your siblings, whatever. It is just it's important to find that time. And I can't tell you how to do it because everybody's schedule is different. But
so something else that really helps with the whole process of goal setting is anticipating all those extra challenges that come with it. For example, burnout, procrastination, senioritis if you're a senior. Kind of keeping those little challenges in mind while you're going into these this whole process of setting a goal and going through with the goal, keeping those in mind and, you know, not forgetting about those and making sure that you're holding yourself accountable when, you know, you do end up facing those challenges is a huge help and makes it so much easier.
Yeah. Also just like being aware that those things happen. Like no matter where you're at in life, you're gonna procrastinate. You're gonna get burnout. Like you're gonna have those feelings of not wanting to do something and or just pushing it back, right? So being aware and like Emma said, being accountable and holding yourself accountable. It's like that just makes you like stronger and more prepared. Like we're talking about preparing yourself to set these goals.
And while we're talking about holding ourselves accountable, I'm gonna again mention something that we have addressed in multiple other episodes, which is the whole idea of having a support system. I know we've kind of taken this like idea of having a support system, kind of relating it to different things.
Yeah.
I think this time it can be really related to having, you know, that support system that you have, kind of like being accountability partners, if you know what those are. Like, okay, we're gonna hold each other accountable for this.
Yeah.
Say I have a goal to have straight A's for an entire semester, and Jasmine has a goal to turn in all her assignments on time. I can hold her accountable, continuously like check up on her. Jasmine, like how are your assignments going? Like, do you have any like that are due coming up? Are they done? And Jasmine can tell me like, okay, have you studied for this upcoming test? Like, have you turned in your assignments? Like, did you work hard on your assignments? And we can really we can help each other out with that. For two is better than one.
Yeah. Period. I love that
Sorry,
verse.
I forgot the wording, so I had to think of it for a second.
Again, we've talked so much about how having a community is such an important thing, and this just adds to that. Like, it is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And there may be days where you're like, please don't ask me about that, but like the fact that they are there to ask you just is amazing. It's so awesome. I don't know if this necessarily how this necessarily like, fits into setting goals, but going back to like, you're busy, right? Extracurriculars, school, family, blah blah blah. Setting a time to be with God, like in the Word.
Oh yeah,
is so important, and that just it helps you. Like, it improves you as a person, improves it improves your character, it improves your like academic character. Like, it is so important to set aside time to either like if you want to listen to the Bible on your phone, or be in the Word, like reading like in the actual like book. I think truly that like doing that, like setting aside time, and again going back to what I said earlier, like praying about your goals will help you so much. So again, we talked about like accountability, like blah, 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 blah. But going back to when we talked about having accountability partners, something else that can, like, because setting goals is hard, right? It's hard. There's things that are hard about it. Again, we talked about the burnout, whatever. But finding motivations through your accountability partner or like yada yada yada, like something that just popped in my brain, like if you have an accountability partner, I can't say that, I don't know why, I'm sorry. But again, like let's go back to saying, me and Emma are holding each other accountable, and I'm like, okay, like I know this might sound silly, but it's something that can help motivate you and your friends. But if I'm like, all right, Emma, like if you I sound like such a mom, if you get straight A's first quarter, like I'll take you out for ice cream. And yeah, like then she's like, oh my gosh, Jocelyn gonna take me out for ice cream and she's gonna pay, like let me get straight A's the first quarter. And then just like doing that for each other, like, and continuously, not just like at the end of the year, because if you just do it once, I think it's hard to, if it's like an end goal, which some people might like, well, I guess that might be easier, because if you do it once, or if you do it multiple times, like the first time you can just quit after. So maybe don't do that. Maybe after, like, set an end goal and be like, we can go to New York if you get straight A's.
We already are.
Better get straight A's.
I know my mom, if I get like a certain grade every I think quarter or semester, either one, she pays me. She does like $5 for, this is just an example, like $5 for a B and $10 for an A.
Oh, period.
And every A and B I get, she pays me.
That's so neat.
I know. And I feel like for me that's a great way.
Yeah. That happened to me when I was like in elementary, but I don't do that anymore. Yeah. But yeah, setting like, or again, having those accountability partners, because if you set a goal for your like self and then you have like an end like reward or whatever for yourself, you're setting it for yourself, you can be like, well, I can just go get ice cream whenever I want. But if it's someone else, like kind of like dangling that treat in front of you, like,
no, that makes sense.
It makes you work harder. It makes you want to get that treat. Like if you're a dog, you're like, they're like, come here, come get it.
So wrapping up this episode, something else that is very important in the process of setting goals and going through with your goals is celebrating all like the little stuff. Like if you set little goals leading up to your big goal, celebrate like your little wins, your little milestones. Like that'll make it like much more of an enjoyable experience.
Worth the wait.
Yes, very much worth the wait.
Yeah. a Bible verse. I think that really kind of wraps up what we've been talking about. It's from Philippians 3, and it's verse 14, and it says, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. So basically, it's just talking about how if we keep pressing on and pressing towards our goals, the ultimate prize is heaven.
Yay!
Surprise! I'm waiting for the cool ending, but it's not coming.
What cool ending? Oh my gosh!
You always have one.
No, hold on. You know what goal I really want to accomplish this year?
An outro! I quit.
Sit down.
I'm sorry. What? Are you okay?
I had a good thing going there, and now I've lost it. I'm not done. Let me get it again.
No.
It was really scary.
Tilly's calling you.
Ignore it. I'm so right there.
Oh, something. Are you showing your toes?
You know me so well.